that gut GI, that microbiome, 7,000 to 9,000 different strains of microbes that are inside of your gut.
Fibermaxxing is kind of a buzzword.
Fibermaxxing.
Exactly.
I just love that term. Just sounds so cool.
Sounds so strong right now, but explain a little bit more about fibermaxxing. Something else that I think we need to talk about is probiotics, because gut health is really important, and it's one of those things that we've been hearing a lot about, but the hype around it, is it right? Is it something that we should be really excited about?
So I'm going to make the conversation. There's two different directions you could go with this. Like there, on the one hand, you could talk about like the food sources of probiotics, like you mentioned, like the kombucha, the fermented products, things like that. But then there's actual separate probiotics, just capsules that have very specific genus, species, and strains of the actual microbes that you want to get into your gut. So focusing on the probiotics, I love reading research about probiotics. It is a really cool field. There's a whole lot of really cool stuff that's being done right now. But the problem is this is all fairly new. A lot of the research that we're having is fairly new. Like within the last 15 to 20 years, this has become more prominent of an area of study, which means it's still in its early days. And I think that sometimes the excitement overextends what the actual findings are. So, I mean, for the basics on it, as people need to know about it, is your body has trillions of bacteria. Like there's more microbes, there's more fungi, bacteria, and viruses, cells of those on your body than there are you, of yourself, of your own body. And in particular, there's a very large residing place they have in your large intestine. And you have a bit of a symbiotic relationship with them. They have three major functions. The microbiome in your gut, it helps to maintain your immune system. It helps modulate and reduce inflammation down there. It keeps away the bad bugs. These are all, most of what you have are the good guys, good bugs who aren't going to cause any harm or disease to you whatsoever. And then number three is they actually provide you with some material. They actually give you some items that help you, that provide benefit to you, like, for example, vitamin K or short-chain fatty acids. So we like our microbiome. When the microbiome is working, we call that eubiosis. When it's not working, when you're having bad side effects of it, or it's been depleted or ravaged somehow, we call that dysbiosis. So probiotics are a big deal because we're trying to see, well, what other effects are there related to how your probiotics are affecting you? We're looking at what's called the mind-gut axis. Is it possible that your probiotics, that your microbiome could affect your mood somehow? Could be affecting symptoms related to how you're feeling about different issues. Could be affected or relating to development of allergies. There's all these areas that they're looking at, nothing that's yet definitive, but it is a really cool topic to talk about.
I know. I feel like you're nerding out over there on this.
So much research to talk about.
I love this. So let's go. You were talking about kind of the capsules, the supplements and stuff like that, but also food-wise with the probiotics. Yogurts, are those a great source?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because when you just look at the dose related to what you get in the delivery method, I mean, there's foods that you eat, and the way that you eat definitely influences your microbiome. That's absolutely true. That's in stone. We know that for certain. You can get prebiotics, which is basically the difference between a prebiotic and a probiotic. Prebiotic is probiotic food. That's microbe food. Those are other compounds, non-digestible things that serve as a food source for the microbes that they like, and they will thrive on. And you have tons of that in like whole grains and plant-based foods, fruits and vegetables. And then of course there are now these modified functional foods that have been, you know, with added prebiotics to them or something like that. That's great and all. But in terms of like these foods that have alleged probiotic supplementation, I don't think the data is quite there. I'm not convinced from what I've read that from a food source, you get much of the probiotic comparative to, you know, what you would get from, like, for example, taking an actual probiotic of a certain strain of microbe that you would get.
So would you say there's any type of food that would be good for probiotic or not so much?
I mean, I would say that more so you should be focusing on a good, healthy diet, improve your diet quality. That'll improve your gut microbiome, because we do know that, you know, refined grain intake, added sugar intake, added oil intake, a sedentary lifestyle, even general obesity, all of these things increase the likelihood of dysbiosis. They worsen your gut microbiome. So I would say just take care of the critters by having a good dietary intake, getting plenty of fiber, which, you know, people don't get enough as it it is. I mean, less than 15% of people get enough fiber as it is, and fiber is a wonderful source of prebiotics. Focus on that, and then if you have general questions about other probiotics, like leave them separate. That would be my recommendation, as it is right now.
Okay. You brought up a lot of different things there that people have maybe talked about that probiotics can do, but not so much.
So the things that probiotics are very well studied. The things that we know that probiotics are great for. Two conditions in particular. If you have taken a large antibiotic regimen, antibiotics wipe out bacteria. That's their job. But they don't know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. They just napalm everything, and everything gets decimated. So in people who have been taking an antibiotic regimen, it's far more likely that they can have bouts of diarrhea. They can have intense bouts of gas, other GI pain. Probiotics in those situations, taking the right one, the right dose, probiotics in those situations are going to be very helpful. For people who have traveler's diarrhea, you go abroad. You ever been abroad? Been anywhere? Gone anywhere?
Yes, I have.
I won't ask about your bowels, how they managed, but for a lot of individuals, they experience that traveler's diarrhea, and we see that there's a lot of benefit for people who take one while they're abroad and traveling to help maintain their microbiome and keep it happy. And then there's a couple of other conditions, like in children, there's a very specific condition that kids can get that affects the intestinal tract, and it can just cause a lot of damage. We've seen probiotics very helpful for those people. For anybody who has had gut surgery, had like their intestinal surgery or something like that, probiotic could be really helpful for them to help manage the symptoms and get it back to speed where it wants to be. So, and again, for like people who have a chronically experienced like bloating or gas or indigestion or other GI symptoms, they may also benefit from taking one too.
Okay, so for somebody who's maybe thinking about taking a probiotic, is that something that, hey, go ahead, get on it, or maybe talk to your physician about
Talk to your doctor, consult your dietitian, go talk to them and ask them about it. And if there's a goal there, if there's something specific you can pinpoint, they'll lead you in a good direction of what you can do.
Be smart about it, right?
Be smart about it. We don't recommend going willy-nilly. Don't go and buy one. And that's the thing too, like that gut GI, that microbiome, 7,000 to 9,000 different strains of microbes that are inside of your gut. And there are many, and I mean many, capitalized, all caps, underlined, many different strains of probiotics.
He's yelling it right now.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little frantic and overexcited about it. But there's so many different strains of it. And I mean, that would be a very easy thing where a person would just panic and think, oh, what am I supposed to do or take with this? It's not like you just take a probiotic. Like I say probiotic, and probiotic is an umbrella term, but it's really referencing like all of these different strains that get extraordinarily specific. So that's why it's way more helpful to consult a specialist or an expert who can just guide you in the right direction for, what could be helpful, assuming you need to take one in the first place.
Right. Because what I'm also hearing is that not all probiotics are the same.
Not in the slightest, no.
And to bring it back just a little bit, because we were talking fiber, and fibermaxxing is kind of a buzzword.
Fibermaxxing.
Exactly.
I just love that term. Just sounds so cool.
Sounds so strong right now, but explain a little bit more about fibermaxxing.
Fibermaxxing is people who are taking their fiber to the max. People who are trying to actually hit the recommended amount of how much fiber you should be consuming on a daily average. Now, depending on if you're a man or a woman and depending on your age, the general range of fiber intake of what you want to be shooting for is about 24 to 32 grams per day. For context of what that looks like in the food that you eat, a slice of whole grain bread, like a single slice of whole grain bread, may have about 3 grams. 3 to 4 grams, it varies according to the brand. Beans, like black beans, kidney beans, are a fantastic source of fiber. You can get as much as 7 grams in a half a cup serving of beans. So you can see how, as you parse it throughout the day, trying to hit your actual amount of what the fiber is that you should be consuming in a day may be a little bit more of a challenge. But I mean, the benefits that you get from it, I mean, it just feels good. Like I made this joke in this crack earlier about how fibermaxxing is sweeping the nation because it's sweeping our guts. Well, fiber, I mean, the soluble and insoluble fibers that we get, they have this dual effect about helping to improve that gut microbiome, helping to keep our bowels strong, brushing it through, not to be too graphic on the terms about what's going on. I don't get too weird about that, but it helps with improved bowel movements and feeling less strained as you're doing it. It feels good to get your fiber intake in the day, so no wonder people are doing it and giving it a super cool name like fibermaxxing.
I mean, bro, it does sound really awesome.
Sis, It sounds amazing and it feels amazing too, which is probably what's fueling the hype.
It kind of sounds like a superhero a little bit, fibermaxxing.
Fibermax. Save us, Fibermax.
What I'm also hearing is that, yes, each person is individually different when it comes to their intestines and their microbiome. Am I saying it right?
Nailed it.
Yes. Okay. So everybody's different, because you're even saying like how many different kinds, like 7,000 to 9,000
different strains that you can have in you. Yeah.
It's like a whole little army going on right there.
It's a whole little army. And that's, honestly, that's a perfect analogy for it too, because like I said, one of the major functions of the microbiome is they keep the bad bugs away. There's the good bugs that you want to have, that you want to proliferate. And there's the bad bugs, the disease causing bugs. And the good bugs help fight off the bad bugs. They help keep them away. And that reduces likelihood of a whole other host of conditions and possible illnesses and conditions that could come upon a person.
And my army is a little bit different than your army.
Your army looks a little bit different than mine.
Okay.
More like Wonder Woman, where mine's a bunch of little Batmans running around inside of there.
I love it.